The Arctic doesn't kill you with cold. It kills you with silence. For 3 weeks, the wind had been screaming, a banshee wail that stripped the flesh from your bones. But then nothing. Just white. Endless, blinding white. And in the middle of it, a smell. Rot. Garbage. Humanity. She came out of the blizzard like a ghost. A polar bear. But not the king of the ice. Not the apex predator. She was a skeleton wrapped in dirty fur. Ribs showing through skin like the bars of a cage. Her paws were bleeding stumps from walking on gravel. She had walked 600 miles. From the melting pack ice to the edge of Churchill, the polar bear capital of the world. She wasn't here to hunt. She was here to die. Ranger Elena Vance watched her from the window of the research station. Elena had spent 20 years studying these bears. She knew their names. She knew their bloodlines. But she didn't know this one. She's too far gone. Marcus, the station chief, said, not looking up from his coffee. Let nature take its course. We don't have the resources. Elena watched the bear collapse into a snowbank. Too weak to even lift her head. She's not nature anymore, Elena whispered. She's a refugee. And that was the moment Elena Vance broke every rule in the book. She decided to save a monster. You have to understand the math of survival in the North. It's simple. Calories in, calories out. This bear had 0 calories in, and she had burned millions walking here. Elena ran the numbers in her head. To save her, they needed a tranquilizer dart, risky. Her fat reserves were too low. The drugs could stop her heart. A transport sled, a plane, a destination. There was no destination. The ice was gone. The sanctuaries were full. If we move her, she dies in transit, Marcus argued. If we leave her, she dies tonight. At least this way, she dies free. Elena grabbed her parka. I'm not leaving her for the dogs. The town of Churchill had a polar bear alert program. When bears come to town, they get tagged. If they come back, they get shipped north. If they come back a 3rd time, they get shot. This was this bear's first time. But she was starving. If Elena didn't act, the locals would. Elena walked out into the -30-degree wind. She carried no gun, just a syringe of glucose. The bear was lying behind a dumpster behind the Hudson Bay Lodge. She was massive. Even starving, she weighed 800 pounds. Elena approached slowly. Hey, girl. Hey. The bear didn't move. Her eyes were closed, matted with ice. Elena knelt. The smell was terrible. Old blood. Infection. Starvation. Elena reached out. Her gloved hand touched the bear's shoulder. The fur was like wire. The bear's eye snapped open. Yellow. Filmy. Filled with pain. She tried to lift her head. Failed. Let out a sound that wasn't a roar. It was a wheeze. Oh, I know, Elena said, tears freezing on her cheeks. I know it hurts. She jammed the glucose needle into the bear's neck muscle. The bear didn't flinch. She just accepted it. Elena radioed Marcus. Get the sled. And the net gun. We're taking her to the hangar. Elena, the storm is coming. Winds gusting to 60. Get the sled. Moving a polar bear is like moving a grand piano that wants to eat you. They had to net her. Not to hurt her, but to control her. Flump. The net gun fired. The weighted net spread over her. She panicked. Adrenaline hit a body that had none left to give. She thrashed. The net tightened. She roared, a sound that shook the dumpsters. Elena jumped on her back. Hold her legs. Marcus, hold her legs. Marcus was terrified. Elena was wrestling a dying lioness. Roll her onto the tarp. It took 4 men. Grunting, slipping on ice, screaming over the wind. They rolled her onto the heavy canvas tarp, tied the corners. She looked at Elena, right in the eyes. Why? Because I can, Elena panted. They dragged her through the streets of Churchill, past tourists taking photos, past the grocery store. A 900-pound monster on a sled, dragged by a truck. The locals watched. Some cheered. Some spat. They got her to the airport hangar. It was the only place big enough. And it was unheated. This is where the story gets ugly. They couldn't sedate her fully. so they had to keep her restrained. Elena stayed with her. Marcus went home. "You're crazy," he said. "She'll be dead by morning." Elena built a fire in a barrel. She sat 3 feet from the bear's nose. The bear's name was Nanuq. It means polar bear in Inuktitut. Nanuq was shivering uncontrollably. Hypothermia setting in. Elena took off her parka, and her sweater, and her thermal shirt. She lay down next to the bear, skin to fur. She wrapped her arms around the massive neck. "Warm up," she whispered. "Come on, Nanuq. Fight." The bear smelled of death, but under that, the smell of musk, of life. Hours passed. Elena's skin stuck to the bear's frozen fur. Her fingers went numb. She talked to her, told her about the ocean, about the seals, about a world that used to exist. "I'm taking you north," Elena promised, "to the Queen Elizabeth Islands. The ice is still there. You'll be safe." It was a lie. The ice was melting there too. But it was the only hope. At 4 a.m., the shivering stopped. Nanuq's breathing deepened. She let out a long, hot breath that steamed in the hangar air. She pressed her back against Elena's chest, seeking warmth, seeking comfort. Elena cried until she had no tears left. The storm hit at dawn. Whiteout conditions. You couldn't see the wing of the plane from the cockpit. They had a C-130 Hercules, a military cargo plane. Nanuq was loaded in the back, strapped to a pallet. Elena sat on the floor beside her. A vet was monitoring the heart rate. "She's tachycardic," the vet yelled over the engine roar. "Heart rate 140. She's panicking." The plane dropped. Thud. Nanuq roared. The sound was deafening in the metal tube. She thrashed against the straps. Crack. A strap snapped. The 800-pound beast swung loose. Her paw swiped the air. It clipped the vet, sent him flying into the wall. Nanuq stood up, drugged, confused, terrified. She saw Elena, the only familiar thing in this roaring metal tube. She lunged. Elena didn't run. She stood up. She grabbed Nanuq's snout with both hands. "No," she screamed. "Sit." It was a dog command. Stupid. Insane. Nanuq froze. Her paws were inches from Elena's chest. Her breath hot and foul. Elena looked into those yellow eyes. "We are flying," she said, voice shaking but firm. "Sit down." Nanuq blinked. The adrenaline faded. The exhaustion took over. Slowly, painfully, she folded her legs and sat. Elena exhaled. She reached out and stroked the bridge of the nose. "Good girl." They flew for 6 hours. North. Always north. They reached the drop zone. Devon Island. The largest uninhabited island on Earth. It was a graveyard of ice. Beautiful. Dead. They had to airdrop her. A parachute rig. "If she wakes up midair, she'll tear the chute," the pilot said. "She won't wake up," Elena said. "I dosed her heavy." They pushed the pallet to the ramp. The wind screamed. -40 degrees. "Go." The pallet slid out. The parachute snapped open. Whoosh. It drifted down. A white speck against the white ice. It hit the ground. Thump. The chute collapsed. Elena watched through binoculars. Nanuq lay there, motionless. "Is she dead?" Marcus asked. Elena held her breath. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Then, a black nose twitched. A massive head lifted. Nanuq stood up. She shook herself. She looked around. Ice. Snow. Silence. She took a step. Then another. She didn't look back at the plane. She didn't look for Elena. She walked toward the horizon, toward the seal hunting grounds. "She's going to make it," Elena whispered. That was 6 months ago. Elena is back in Churchill now. The snow is melting. The bears are coming into town earlier every year. She sits in her office. There's a photo on her wall of a massive white bear walking away into the blizzard. Her satellite tracker pinged this morning. Signal ID, Nanuq 01. Location, 800 miles north. Weight, gained 150 pounds. Status, hunting. Elena smiles. She picks up the radio. "Alert team. We have a bear on Main Street. Let's go tag him." She grabs her parka. She walks out into the wind. Because the ice is melting, the world is burning, and the refugees keep coming. But as long as there is one ranger, one fool with a glucose needle and a death wish, the ghosts will have a chance. We broke this world, but we can still fix the broken things, one bear at a time. This bear survived because someone cared. If you care too, please subscribe.